Good morning, all of you.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
So in the last week, we were discussing about the size of the output image and then how to perform the convolution of a color channels. If your image has color channels, then how the convolution operation will take place, we were discussing, and suddenly something happened and I could not complete that. So I will continue that and then we'll move on to the next part of the deep learning concept. Okay. So we have done the finding the output image size without padding. We have done. If you have a 3x3 filter and then if you are not doing any padding, then you will have the reduction in the size. Okay. If you are using 3x3, then one boundary, one layer in all the 4 dimensions will be removed from your output. If you are using 5x5, then 2 rows, 2 columns on all the 4 sides you will be getting removed. So if it is a 7x7 image, then you will be you can keep your center pixel only after 2 rows, 2 columns only. That we have discussed in detail. So now we will move on to calculation of the parameters in your filter. Okay. Why we need these many parameters and what will be the importance of these parameters. See, basically why we need this convolution neural network is to reduce the number of parameters that are necessary, or what are the significant features that really contribute for the classification purpose, image classification or object, whatever you are trying to classify, object recognition or object classification. Okay. Suppose if you have a 1024 cross 1024 image and then all the information in your image, if you are giving it as the input, then imagine how many neurons you require in the input layer. And then you need lot of computation processing go on, isn't it? So that is why what we do is we perform this convolution operation. That means it reduces your number of parameters to be passed on to the next layer, so that your computation can be effective. That means it will be computationally fast and then so many neurons are not required. So in that case, what happens is the number of weights that you are updating will be less. You will not be requiring so many weights to be updated. Thousands of or millions of weights you need not have to update every time. Okay. And one more advantage is wherever you keep your test image in the image size. Okay, suppose you want to recognize, last time we have seen you want to recognize a cat in any part of the image. Since you are doing convolution, it can extract the parameters of a cat wherever it is present. That is why it is called as translation invariant or equivariant. The third advantage which I explained, that means even if you translate and then you move to a different location and perform convolution, still you get the same output wherever you perform. Okay. So now we will see the output volume size. Assume your image size is 32 cross 32 and this is using padding, and then this is refers to the 3 color channels RGB, and I am using a filter of size 5x5, and my filter also has 3 color channels. Whenever you use color channels for your input image, or if your input image has, you are representing or giving an input image with RGB colors, then your filter should also have 3. So this 3 and this 3 should match. Suppose if it is a grayscale, then this is 1 and this is also 1. So this 3 and this 3 should ideally match always. Please remember that. Okay. And assume I'm moving pixel by pixel. Okay. My stride is 1. I'm padding by 2. Why I'm padding by 2 is when you use 5x5, you have to do the padding, because when you use 5x5, usually 2 rows, 2 columns, and on either sides of the pixel, 2 boundaries, 2 rounds of the boundary pixels will be losing. So in that case, you have to pad by 2. If I use 3x3, then one boundary, one level, one round will be lost. So you have to add only 1. So since you are using 5 cross 5, we are using padding as 2. And then the output volume size calculation. In case of without padding, it is n minus f by stride plus 1. Now it is w minus f plus 2 into padding divided by stride plus 1. This 1 we will add at the end for bias because the formula is b plus sigma xi wi. So now the window size or the image size is 32 minus filter size is 5 plus padding is 2. So this results once again in 32. That means your input image size after filtering you will get the output size also same as the input image size. You are not losing the boundary information in your image after performing the convolution operation. So this is the output volume size you are getting. And now in this filter, if you say now we have to discuss the number of filters or what will happen in each filter. Okay. Now if you take, suppose you are recognizing say number 9. Yesterday I have shared one YouTube link. So suppose if you are recognizing number 9, then it will have some curve, straight line, slanting line or any other shapes. So for recognizing each portion, you have to use separate filters which can recognize curve, which can recognize straight line, which can recognize diagonal line. So what happens is to extract certain features, you need certain types of filters. So the values what you put inside the filter, the coefficients really determine what you are going to extract out of the image. Okay. So now I will be explaining with an example here. Okay. Now let me explain the number of filters. Okay. If you are extracting the ear portion of an animal, then you need a filter which can recognize the curve regions. Suppose if you are recognizing the body region of an animal, then you need the filter with a different set of coefficients. Suppose if you are recognizing the tail region of an animal, then you need a filter with a different coefficients. That means you cannot paint everybody with the same brush. You need a separate filter to extract different characteristics of an object in an image. That is the idea. Okay. So for one filter, I will be getting this. Suppose if I have 10 filters for eye, nose, mouth, body, tail, etc., then I will use 10 filters. So in that case, my output size is 10. Now you will be having a question, what happens to this 3? Why it has become 1? Where this 3 went? Okay. So to explain that, I will move on to a next portion of this to explain that. But before that, I will complete the number of parameters. That means what is meant by parameters here? When you say parameter, it is actually the information content that is coming out finally, which helps for the recognition or classification or pattern distinction, differentiation, whatever you are trying to do. So the parameter means the information or the input attribute or characteristic feature that helps you to perform the classification or recognition operation. Okay. So now in your filter, you have 5 cross 5 into 3. So that is 25 into 3, 75 plus this 1, that is the bias. So for entire one filter complete operation, you will be adding only 1. That means for one neuron, you will add just 1. Okay. So you will have 76. So if you have 10 filters, then 760 parameters are required. Suppose if you are performing only the tail detection, tail region detection, and you are using only one filter. In that case, 76 pixel elements will be useful or contributing for detecting the tail region of the animal from the image. That means 76 elements are required, are given to the neuron for recognizing that tail portion from the image. Okay. So 76 elements goes to one neuron, and that neuron will detect the tail portion of the animal from the image. That is the idea. Hope that is clear. Now we move on to what happens this 3. Now I imagine I have a red, green, blue. I have drawn in those colors. I hope you can see. Just for explanation, I have made like this. You have red, green and blue layers, or you can call it as a channel. Each channel, okay, red, green, blue, we call it as channels. That means the channels that streams the particular intensity values. So now this will have 0 to 255. Suppose if I use 8 bit per colors, then you will have 256 bits representing that particular color. Okay, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 to 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 8 bits you can use. So that is 0 to 255 colors you can represent of red. Similarly, 0 to 255 colors of green and 0 to 255 shades of blue. So when all the three are mixed, all together the mixture will give one particular color. Now you assume all the three separate channels. I have 6 cross 6 cross 3. This is my input image size. And then I have a filter of size 3 cross 3 and 3. And always remember this 3 and this 3 should match. Okay. So now what happens? I'm not doing any padding here. So what happens is one round will be going on all sides. So I will have 4 cross 4 because this 3 cross 3, this center pixel you will be keeping here. Is this red color visible to all of you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So this you are keeping over here. Then what happens? Only in the second row, second column. I'm not starting with 0, 0. Just for example, you are just taking this 2 cross 2 and this center pixel will coincide with this 2 cross 2. So that this 1 cross 1 will coincide with this 1 cross 1. So what happens? You will be performing a multiplication element by element. This into this, maybe I'll write A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, and here I will write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now what happens? A into 1 plus B into 2 plus C into 3 plus D into 4 plus E into 5, F into 6 plus G into 7 plus H into 8 plus I into 9. So this operation will happen and you will get a single value. That single value will be substituted in this location because wherever the center pixel of this filter is matching with this, then the neighborhood values and the center pixel values get convolved. This operation is called convolution. You have to put a star here for convolution and that value goes here. I hope all of you remember this. We have discussed earlier also. So likewise, you will be sliding. The stride is 1. So you will be moving this center pixel 5 here. Then 5 will come here. 5 will come here. Likewise. So you will finally get a 4 cross 4. Okay. And now how this 1 comes, that I will explain. Now what you have to do is, this is your red panel, okay, or red plane. So in your filter also you have red, green and blue. So the elements of this red correspondingly will be multiplied with the elements of the pixel intensity values in the red plane. Similarly, you take the green plane here in the filter, it will be multiplied with the corresponding elements, whatever you are trying to perform, whichever pixel you are moving, the window it is moving, accordingly the convolution operation happens. Similarly, the blue plane filter mask that will be convolving with the elements in the blue plane. So now what you will get is, you will have 3 elements for 1 pixel, red, green and blue. All of them are added. Remember, all of them are added and you will get a single value. That single value will be put here into an output array. This is my output image. This is my output image. So whatever value I get here, this I will repeat for green, this I will repeat for blue. I will get 1 value for red, 1 value for green, 1 value for blue. All the 3 are added and it is being put here. Likewise, you move the filter over the image, slide it, perform the operation and fill this 4 cross 4 matrix. And finally, this is 1 plane. This is for one filter. This is for one filter, one 5x5 with the 3-plane filter. Okay, that means suppose if I am detecting a tail of the animal, then this will have the corresponding values. Suppose if I am detecting the ear portion, then I will have a filter representing values like this in my filter coefficients. Likewise, the body portion, something like this. Likewise, suppose if I have to recognize a bigger region, then that is the next step. I go in for a bigger size of my receptive field of my image. This image is called as a receptive field, and this is called as a filter or kernel or mask or a window. And what I get finally is called as a feature map or activation map. Okay, now I have drawn one sample filter here. My sample filter has a value 1, 0, minus 1. That means one column 1, another column 0, another column minus 1. These coefficients will help me to detect the vertical edges in the images seen. Okay. Suppose if I want to detect the vertical edge that are present only in the red color portion, in my image will have several colors. Only from the red color objects, if I want to detect the edges, then I will apply this coefficients only for the red channel of my filter. Okay. For the green and blue, I will give zeros. All 9 elements will be zeros. Okay. Suppose if you want to detect a vertical edge for any color, irrespective of the color, you want to detect a vertical edge, then use the same values for all the 3 filters. Okay. For example, I have shown, and there is a rationale behind using this. That will be a separate lecture. If required, I can do it later, or last week itself I said I will share the videos, I will share, and also I will share the link. Basically, this filter is a Sobel filter. Sobel filter for edge detection. Okay, I will share a HTML link to understand this concept, how this has been made. Okay, so this is what the idea is, and then so the number of parameters here. How many parameters? Can anyone tell me? How many parameters here? For this case, how many parameters? I have already written here. Can you just see, or you can calculate and tell?
28.
Okay, 27 from the kernel part plus 1 from the bias. Alright, so there are totally 28 parameters coming from a 3x3 kernel. Okay, so now, any doubts so far? Shall we move on to the next topic? I have done this part.
Ma'am, in the left side, the output volume, you wrote width minus filter plus 2p plus 1 will be there, no, ma'am?
This one is for bias.
Inside, ma'am. Suppose we are using this formula for this, what we call
This is
6 cross
with
6
padding.
cross 3.
This is with padding.
Ma'am. We can put 0, no, ma'am. Then this formula for p equals to 0, then this formula should match for this also, no, ma'am.
Yeah, without padding also it should work. Exactly.
Yes, ma'am. So take, for example, 6 cross 3 cross 3 and then 3 cross 3 cross 3. We will get 6 minus 3 plus 0.
Yeah,
By
1 plus 1.
that is bias, no, ma'am. That when we try to calculate 4 cross 4 cross 1, we did not take care of bias, no, ma'am. We simply calculated.
Okay, okay. For that is a different formula. In the last
What do you
class,
mean? Ma'am, bias means like what, ma'am? It's just users, no ma'am. We can put anything. Uh, Normal size is the formula plus 1. Bias can be anything, no ma'am. That depends on the formula. When bias is not given, we will be
Yeah,
adding
yeah,
that
I
or not.
got your point. I got your point. Actually, this is having images of even size. Okay, I will check this and let you know.
Okay.
Because you are moving, so 1, 2, 3, 4, then 1, 2, 3, 4. So from the 6 cross 6, you will get.
That we call without bias or with bias, ma'am. What we
This is
calculated as
without
per.
bias. 4 cross 1 is without bias.
Okay, ma'am.
Actually, this is, see, you have to understand one thing. This one is added only for finding the parameters. This one is this one is added to find the number of parameters. This plus one is added to find only the number of parameters. While calculating the output size, you are just taking 32 by 32 into the number of filters only. I think I will write this as number of parameters. I think now it will be clear. If you want to find the number of parameters, then this is the formula. And in the way of doing it, you will be getting one number. This is for one dimension. You have to write it as 32 by 32 for one filter for one image. Okay.
Ma'am, bias is like with respect to a filter, and then it depends on the final shape of the matrix after applying filter, no ma'am. So it's like
Yeah.
number of parameters in the number of cells in the output matrix plus 1, no ma'am.
Yes. Actually,
So
what happens is this entire convolution operation happens, and then this convolved elements, this 4 cross 4 elements will be going to one neuron. Okay, one neuron. This 4 cross 4 elements will be going to one neuron. So that is why we are adding one bias.
okay, ma'am. So the number of parameters. What I wanted to ask is
One
number of
neuron in the
parameters.
sense it will go to one neuron in the hidden layer, not in the input layer. Your input is this one. Your input is this, but all the 16 elements goes to one neuron in the hidden layer.
Yes, ma'am. So the number of parameters will be this size plus bias, no, ma'am. This
Yes.
size means 4 cross 4 cross 1 plus bias.
No, actually number of parameters is actually 27. Number of parameters what you are obtaining from the image is 27 plus the bias separately.
Okay,
These
okay.
27 parameters are involved in this. See, in the red layer there are 9 elements, in the green layer 9 elements, blue layer 9 elements. So all together 27 elements in the filter are multiplied with 27 to get one element here. Actually this 16 and this 28 you cannot equate. That is different. You cannot equate it like that.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, all these 27 elements goes into one pixel.
Yes, ma'am. So the number of parameters is just filter size plus bias, no, ma'am.
Yes, and that
Okay.
bias will be added only at the end when all these 16 input elements, when all these 16 elements goes to your hidden neuron in the hidden layer, neuron in the hidden layer, that one will be added. All these 16 elements will be going to one neuron, there
Ma'am,
this
what
bias
is
will
one
be
neuron, ma'am? We have 4x4 now, ma'am. That's how convolution works now, ma'am. We are not matching with the every neuron, I guess. Like input, we are just reducing the size by mapping now, ma'am.
Yeah.
So the one neuron, you mean like in the 4x4x1, every neuron, or like I didn't get that. Like in the normal neural networks, we will be having certain number of inputs in one layer, and while going to the next layer, all the weights and biases, like the product will be pointed to the one neuron. But since there are many parameters in the convolutional neural networks, we are not mapping with the every
Yes,
neuron,
yes,
ma'am.
because we are reducing the number of connections. We are reducing the number of connections. So what I am trying to tell you is, now you have this 4x4. Now, so you will have 16 values. All the 16 values goes to one neuron. You will have one bias. Now this is my hidden layer. Now this is my hidden layer. In my hidden layer, this is one neuron. This entire 4x4 elements comes to this one neuron. Now this is coming from one filter. Say the filter which is recognizing this tail part or something like this. Now I have another filter which recognizes a straight line like this. Now all the 16 goes to another hidden layer neuron with another bias value. Likewise, I will have 10 filters. So in my first hidden layer, if I have 10 neurons, then I would have used 10 filters with each filter with different values to perform convolution and extract different features. Okay, wait, let me explain you this way. I will stop the video part. I will show the slide and I will explain. Can you see the PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See, in the layer 1, in this case, there are 3 filters used. Each filter is detecting certain region of the image. And then in the second layer, I am increasing my receptive field size, my image size, and then what I want to detect also I am changing. And I'm detecting eye part, nose part, mouth part. That means a region which is an expansion of this. I'm detecting a bigger region from the image. Now in the next layer, I'm detecting a bigger picture. It is like as human beings, what we do. Suppose you want to recognize or you want to differentiate a lion and a tiger or an elephant and a giraffe. Then how will you compare? The ears of the elephant are different and the ears of the giraffe are different. The shape of the tail is different. The shape of the body, color, size, everything is different, isn't it? So what you do, you observe the eye part and then you compare it with your pattern, what you stored in your brain. Okay, this is not the eye of an elephant, so this is not an elephant, you say. This looks like the eye of a giraffe, so I say this is a giraffe. But still, not just only one. So you just go for the tail part, you go for the leg part. You see one by one in the image, and then collectively you put together and you say that yes, it is this animal, or yes, it is this person, like that. Okay, so here can you see? Here can you see so many filters are there in the first hidden layer. So an array of filters are used. So depending on the number of filters used, I have number of layers here. Okay, and then in the second layer, I use so many number of filters. Each filter recognizes certain portion of the image. Each region, each filter recognizes eye, nose, mouth, something. And according to the number of filters I use, number of layers I have here. Similarly, depending on the number of filters I use, I have a certain number of neurons here. I will explain you the increase in the size of the filter, or size of the filter in the sense the receptive field size increases. Here I use a smaller image. I will explain you just a second. I hope this part is clear. So in the first hidden layer, it detects only a small portion, a vertical edge or a horizontal edge or a small region of an image. The second hidden layer, it detects a bigger region. Third hidden layer detects a much bigger region. So now by connecting all these, you will be detecting what it is. Okay, it is like, have you seen a jigsaw puzzle? If you have made a jigsaw puzzle, then you would have connected the eye regions. First you will bring together, then you will bring the mouth region, then you will bring the body region, keep it here and there, and then connect to form an animal or an object, isn't it? Something like that only it happens here. Okay. Let me explain the rationale in using why we need a bigger size. I will explain it here. One convolution layer is not enough. Why do you need a next convolution layer? What if an object of interest is bigger? That is why we are going for a second convolution layer where you take more information from the receptive field. Okay. So if you are using a receptive field, by using 3 cross 3 from an image, you get a first convolution layer. If you are using a bigger size, then the second convolution layer, you will get a much bigger region after extraction. That is what I shown in the slide. And the next layer will
Yes,
have
ma'am. This can I ask, ma'am? Here, the previous slide. So, suppose our first. Okay.
here or the PPT.
Here only, ma'am. The diagram. The. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So, the last part you were telling, no, ma'am, the output neuron, the single neuron, that is like the final output, no, ma'am. That is not there in the hidden cell. It's like initially we will be starting with some 6 cross 6, and then we will get a 3 cross 3 filter, and then for that we will be getting a result of 3 cross 3 only. Uh,
No, you will be getting 4 cross 4.
Here, yes, ma'am. Here it is 5, no, ma'am. So we
Yeah,
got 3 cross 3.
yeah, fine. But it goes to 1 neuron.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. There we applied the 3 cross 3 filter again. So it gets cancelled. So it will be like only 1 only. W minus F will be 0, no, ma'am. So plus 1. So what I was telling is the output size will be W minus F plus 1 plus 2 star padding by stride, no, ma'am.
No,
The difference.
the output size will be W minus F. Okay, W minus F
Plus 1
plus 1.
plus 2 star padding, like if there is any padding by stride.
Yeah, okay, correct.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. In the slides, it was written differently, so that's why I asked. And then, if the parameters will be just size of filter plus bias, if any.
Okay, fine. Now I understood your doubt. I will just move to the video once again. I'll make a small correction in the board now. Okay, if you are doing the if you're finding the size of the output image, then it is W minus F. That means input image size minus window, filter size plus 2P divided by S plus 1. This plus 1 is simply added. To get the size 32 cross 32. Whereas this plus 1, this is bias if you are calculating the parameters. That means here 3 cross 3 into 3 plus 1 you will add to get the parameters 28. Okay. And then 6 minus 3, it is 3 plus 1 you will add to get the 4 cross 4. This 4 cross 4 is the size of the output image. Whereas the number of parameters is 3 into 3 into 3 plus 1, 28. Is it clear now?
Actually, ma'am, that plus 1 is coming like the figuratively plus 1 should come inside the bracket. Since the stride is 1, so we could not make out much difference. So what I thought was plus 1 comes inside the bracket and it will be just W minus F plus 1 plus 2 star P by S. If we take, if you can consider taking the stride as 2 and check, ma'am. I just checked like normally.
Okay. Actually, in the standard formula, this plus 1 is written separately only. Whether you are doing with padding or without padding, this 1 is written separately only, so that you are actually, if you subtract 6 minus 3, finally you will get 3, but you get a 4 cross 4 matrix. So you are adding a 1 to get the size 4 cross 4 matrix. So while calculating the output image, you are adding just 1 to the formula to get the square image. This one doesn't represent bias when you are calculating the output image size. While calculating the parameters, you will be adding the one bias, because that bias is also one of the parameter that is going to a neuron in the hidden layer. Okay, is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, all right. So I was explaining this part. So you will be requiring so many filters, and if you count here the number of filters, then so many output layers will be generated. For example, I will just show here. This example only I took actually to explain to you. This example only I took. So if you are using 5 cross 5 filter and 32 cross 32, each with colors, then all the parameters will be multiplied, and you will RGB, corresponding filter element, image element, will be multiplied and added together. RGB are added together, and it will be mentioned in that particular cell element. So you get only one. So this is for one filter. If you use another filter, you will get one more. Similarly, if you use 6 filters, one filter to detect vertical edge, one filter to detect horizontal edge, one filter to detect a curve, then you will likewise, if you have 6 filters, you will have image of size like this. Okay. So ultimately, this is the convolution operation, and this is the formula to get the image size n minus f divided by stride plus 1. Okay. This we have seen. So the output volume size will be plus 1. We should add because we are doing the padding here. So this is the formula. This formula only I have used on the board with the same example. So number of parameters, you will add 1 for bias. Whereas this one is simply added, this one is simply added, whereas that is for the output volume size, and while calculating the parameters, this one represents the bias. It is mentioned here plus 1 for bias. And this is the general formula. Here the hyperparameters, if you see, it is represented as number of filters, the filter size, and then the number of filters. Suppose if I use 10 filters, then 10 is the one of the hyperparameter, and my size of the filter 5 cross 5 or 3 cross 3, and the stride and the padding, all these are the hyperparameters. Okay, and in case of volume, say 32 cross 32. What I do for one dimension 32 is applicable for the second dimension 32 also. How do I calculate for one side is the same for the second side, second dimension. And this is actually sum of the, not sum actually, if I use 10 filters, then this D becomes 10. Okay. That is what the same calculation, whatever I have done earlier is shown here. Okay. And that's all with this. So now actually I want to explain about the max pooling part. I will go to the max pooling part. This is the convolution part which we have done. And now I want to go for the pooling part. Say for example, if I have my image 4 cross 4 and by applying all the 27 parameters, by applying, I taken a 5 cross 5 cross 3 and I have got a 27 parameters from the image plus 1 bias. So basically it is the 27 parameters that goes into the multiplication with the image, and I get a 4 cross 4 image like this. I get a 4 cross 4 image like this. Now I feel that this 4 cross 4 information is also too heavy for my neural network. I want to reduce the size of this. Then what we can do is we can go for an operation called pooling. So what we do in pooling is basically there are two types of pooling. One is average pooling, another one is max pooling. So what we do is in this 4 cross 4, what we do is we take a single 2 cross 2, 2 cross 2, 2 cross 2, 2 cross 2. I have 4 such 2 cross 2 portions in this 4 cross image, and then you take 1 2 cross 2, a subset of this, and out of this 4 6 0 8, I find the maximum element, I put it here. Similarly, in this 1 3 12 and 9, I find the maximum value 12, I put it here. Likewise, in the next two subset of the image, I put it here. This type is called as max pooling. This operation is called as max pooling. Okay. Suppose instead of taking this maximum way, if I take an average of this and if I put it here, and also I have to round it off and put, because intensities cannot be a fraction, it has to be an integer, then that is called as an average pooling. So there are two types of pooling. I get a max pool or an average pool. And now for the entire image, whatever may be the image size, I will be reducing it to a smaller dimension. Okay. So a bigger image will be reduced to a smaller dimension. So what happens is now you have 4 cross 4, it has become 2 cross 2. That means it has reduced by half. So this operation we call it as downsampling. Okay, this operation is called as downsampling. Okay, and now after downsampling, this particular portion will be going to the next convolution layer for rest of the operation. Likewise, it goes on and on and on. Okay. So this part I will just show from the basic slides. What happens here is you will have a convolution, and actually there is one ReLU operation here. This ReLU is actually, I think in day 3 slides you would have studied earlier. This ReLU, what it will do is it will try to stop your negative values to moving to the pooling. It will pass only the positive values. Any value above 0 will be taken and any value below 0 will not be taken. So once when you perform the convolution, immediately if you perform ReLU, what will happen is it will suppress the negative values and it will take only the positive values. Why the negative values come here? Can anyone tell me? Suppose if as I said earlier, I have 1, 0, minus 1, 1, 0, minus 1, 1, 0, minus 1 in my filter, isn't it? So when my filter has negative elements and if I perform convolution, there is a chance that the entire cell I may get a negative value, isn't it? So out of my feature map, if I want only the positive values to be passed on to the pooling, then I apply my ReLU activation function so that it applies a non-linear operation so that I get only the positive values and the negative values are suppressed and it goes to the pooling. So in the pooling, as I have shown before, the pooling, what happens is you get only the positive values. Already you get only the positive inputs for the pooling and then subsampling happens and the subsampled image. Suppose if I have 1024 cross 1024 image to my max pooling and input, then what happens? I get 512 cross 512 for the next layer. Then from that I get 256 cross 256 to the next layer. Likewise, it goes on and on and on here. Okay. So that's what happens. And finally, what happens is you have a flattening and a fully connected. So what happens in flattening is your two-dimensional array values will be made it into a single dimension array. You will be made, it will be made as a column vector, and then all the elements will be connected to all the neurons in the next level, that is called as a fully connected. So assume this fully connected layer is an intelligent layer where it performs the information required for performing the classification. So all the inputs what you get, that means the flattened inputs will be connected to a fully connected layer and that goes to a softmax. In the next class, I will explain the classification part more in detail about this softmax. Okay. Now, actually, I have to give some information regarding quiz so that you will get prepared for the quiz. And also, I would like to give information regarding the T2 also. So, couple of information, please make a note. Okay, so your quiz is scheduled on Friday afternoon at 1:45. According to our time, it will be 1:45, 1:47 actually. But AUMS server is slow, so we will be starting. Maybe you all can log in like last time, 5 minutes early, 1:40. You can log in. We will be sending, we will be sharing the password after you log in into the Teams. I have already shared the meeting invite. Please log in on time. And then the quiz duration is 20 minutes. You will have a part A and part B. And part B, you will be solving in a paper, little simple calculations. I think you all know the portions. I have already shared the topics. It is the same topics. And for the deep learning, you can take the topics up to what I covered till today. Okay. In the next class, I will be completing the slides. So whatever I have covered today, you can go through. Simple calculation, whatever we have done, those calculations only. And earlier we have discussed performance of classification measures, ROC, AUC, and then this deep learning topic. So only these topics you will be doing some simple calculation and giving your answer. The answer you will be choosing as an option in the AUMS, and then the workout, whatever you are doing, you have to scan and upload. So for that we will give 10 minutes extra apart from the AUMS time, 20 minutes. After you finish submitting, you can scan and upload. We will give the MS Form link. One important point I would like to inform here is, whatever you click, the option you click, that will be taken as the final answer. Okay. Suppose you would have done the calculation right, and then while clicking, if you have chosen wrong calculation, we cannot map your writing part, and once again, we cannot go back to the Excel sheet what is being exported for the marks, and we cannot do the mapping. For the correct choice, what you are choosing, you should have a justification. Okay. In a hurry, don't make a wrong choice. Okay. Though your calculation is correct, if you make a wrong choice, you will lose the mark, 2 marks or 1 mark, whatever it is. But then please be careful. For the option that you click, we need a justification. Okay. That is how it is mapped. And now this is regarding the quiz. In the same manner, now for your T2, earlier we have mentioned your T2 will be descriptive like T1, but now we have decided to conduct T2 also as MCQs only. So T2 for 30 marks, it will be MCQ, and you have to finish your calculations and then choice part in 1 hour time, and then your rough work, whatever you are using for calculation, you have to upload in the next 10 minutes time. Okay. So part B only we are expecting you to upload. Okay. Part B involves calculation. Sometimes if part A involves calculation, you can whatever you are writing, that also you have to upload. Okay. So your T2 also will now be MCQ, not like T1. Okay. And by end of this week, we'll try to give your T1 marks. Okay. So that's all, and your T2 will have Viva. So Thursday, we have done with the 50-60 portion of your deep learning concepts we have done. Next, we have to do the argumentation part, and then how you are doing the classification. I have to explain the argumentation before doing the classification, and then we will do the classification and some extra slides to read. That also I will cover it on Thursday. In case if I am unable to cover on Thursday, after the quiz, we will meet for 1 more hour and we'll finish it. Okay. So your quiz will be from 1:45 onwards for 20 minutes for AUMS plus 10 minutes for uploading. Maybe roughly you can keep 45 minutes altogether. Then if at all we have not covered the T2 topics, we will sit after the quiz. Else, if you have any general queries regarding test or a project, we can discuss. And for my section or under my purview for the project batches, 2 batches I have given mid-sem review. Those 2 batches have to discuss with me and give me the update, whatever you have done so far. And after T2, we will have only 3 topics to cover: reinforcement learning, LSTM, and autoencoders. We exactly need only 6 to 7 hours for completing it. So we will have a quiz 3, and then the rest of the hours will be converted to initially 1 week project. Later we will be doing the project review only. So from 2nd week of April, you can get ready to show your project. Okay. So please gear up your project, and we have done enough sessions to make you work. Last week we had a session on how to build project. Hope that will help you. So now you complete your start your project work and complete it. So by mid of April onwards, we will start the project review. By end of April, we have to finish. Okay. So thank you. Have a good day.